We are in week number 8, almost there. We don't have too many weeks left of this semester. So in terms of material of the module, roughly we are going to finish it. So I would say we are ahead of the plan, and fortunately we are not back in anything. And slowly for today I will spend a little bit of time on reviewing the tasks you have had last week and the problem you have mentioned in the spreadsheet. So it looks like the spreadsheet works in the way I can receive some feedbacks from some of you which you have had some problem in the task, etc. And also for the coming weeks, you know, in week 10 we have the final lab exam, and also I will try to review the final paper exam in January. We will have, so like I said, the whole thing is roughly we are going to finish the material of the course. It is the good news. We don't have too many things to discuss more, just we review the stuff, and I will review some of the tasks you have already done and the tasks you have already had problems. And like I said again, we will review some of the exam papers to see what's the story. Okay, let's see what is the plan of today. For today we will continue talking about the dictionaries, but at the same time looking at the a little bit more functions in the I would say dictionaries, etc. So again, so we need to review the dictionary. You remember we started the dictionary from last week. We looked at different things. The most important thing was the in operator. We saw it is really much better in terms of the linear search. If you wanted to do the linear search inside a string or something like that, it used to take more time and energy to do that, but with the in operator it was much easier. You saw that in this file, and we did some sort of the practice in terms of if something is inside something else, if it is not in, and so on. And finally we had some sort of the examples. You saw this example like that, you worked on them, and yeah, and we have had some tasks in here. Particularly I received some feedback on the German numbers and task summary. Mostly I received some feedback on the task summary. If I want to show you what are the feedbacks, I can open the spreadsheet of week 7, and if I go to answer responses, I can see in the responses I have some feedbacks on task summary mostly, and as you can see, the German numbers, they are the things mostly students they have had problems. Like I said, that's a good way of receiving your feedback. So out of 20 people who have filled the form, 10 of them, they have faced some problem. They have mentioned them. The problem in here, that's anonymous. That's the good point of the form. So we don't know who has put this feedback in here. That's very good. Of course, I know who is the person, but while I'm showing that to you, you cannot understand who has put that feedback in here unless the student himself or herself. So as you can see, we have faced, some of you have faced some problems in here. So I will go through the task to see what has been the problem. Let's first of all have a look at the question. What was the question? In terms of the German numbers, the question was, I had asked you to write a Python script with this name, which give me back the German translation of the word I have given in English. So if that's the input, I will give you 1, 3, 7 and 1 again. So that would be the output in here. Okay, so and list of the German language numbers are as in here. So probably most of you have worked on this. We can see what has been the performance of a student on this task, but I will go through the solution to see what is the solution. Okay, so if I want to read the German, let's look at this problem again to see. First of all, we need to find a strategy to solve the problem, and then we should start to write the code, as I've mentioned in previous lectures also. Remember? So let's see what could be the strategy to solve this problem. Write a Python script named blah blah, which translate each English numbers into the corresponding German language number. All of the number words are in the range 1 to 10. Okay, so that means probably the easiest way to implement that means I need to have all these things stored in somewhere, and then if you ask me what is the translation of 1, I then can search into the place I have stored them to see what is really the translation of 1, find it and print it back. That could be the simplest strategy. You may say, okay, I can store them in list, probably one list for the English word and one list for the German word. That works. But whenever I ask you what is the translation of 3, you need to first of all in the English word find it where is 3. Okay, and then probably if you extract the index and position of that specific word in English, then the corresponding one in the second list would be the translation. That's kind of a linear search, right? So in the first list, which you have the English numbers, you need to search linearly to see where is 3. Okay, and then based on that you have the index, the position of that specific word. Then you can go to the second list, that specific position, you can check what is the translation. So that's a solution using the linear search. But do you think that's a good solution, that's optimized? And how many of you have used this solution? I can bring the participant list, and please, as you can see on my screen, can you see on my screen the participant list? So here, can you tick in front of your name if you have used the list for solving this problem? If you have used the list for solving this problem, please put tick in here, put yes in here in front of. Okay, so I can see 2. Yeah, that's a good option. If you have not used it, please put no. So I see by far, let's minimize the list to only see the numbers in here. Okay, so go on please. Have you used the list? Yes. If you have not used the list, no. If you have used another solution to solve this problem, put no. If you have used list to solve this problem, put yes. Okay, so out of the people in the room, 35 people, I have received only 7 answers. Can you participate and say for the German numbers, have you used the list? If it looks like most of the students, they are using the list, which is okay, the linear search. Like I said, if you remember, last week I mentioned that. Most of the time you feel, okay, I'm happy to do this in this way, because at the end of the day, just I want to find the solution, find the code that works. Yes, it works. But that's the matter of being optimized. That's the matter of writing a code which is faster, takes less energy, etc. You know, so to do that, you need to find, as you go ahead with the new material, you need to see how you can use the new material. Thank you for participation in the pool. Okay, I'll back to the solution. Okay, so we got familiar with the dictionaries since last week we had exam. Maybe you have not spent that much on working on dictionaries. So let me go through that with the dictionary. If I have a dictionary, you know what is a dictionary, right? So if we go into dictionaries in here, dictionary is something like that. You have, each element has 2 parts. The first thing is the key, and the second thing is value. If I put the English words in the key part and the German word in the value part, then you saw that's much faster to do the search inside the dictionary. If I say dictionary of people, for example, the key of, for example, 3, and then what is the value for that, it can print it for you. So the search is really much faster. So for the translation of English number to German number, the better option is to use dictionary instead of list. Instead of defining 2 lists and try to find the first thing and then go to the second list, find the corresponding value, just you can define everything in here. So let's have a look at the code, how it works. If I define a dictionary like this in here, and if I put the English numbers in the keys and the German corresponding translation in the values, then that would be easily, if I read lines, if I read one line, I mean if in the input I read, read lines, read multiple line for you, what was the story. Do you see the code screen, guys? I have switched the screen. Can you see the code screen? Yes, good. Thank you. So you remember here I said, okay, if I give you these lines, what is the translation? So you read all the lines, and then you have a dictionary in here, you stored everything, and then just you say, okay, the first line, please print for me inside the dictionary the line which the key is the first line of me, the first line I have received from the input, and please stripe it. If there is anything I don't want, get rid of the spaces, everything. If you have printed, increase the I, go to the next line, please find inside the dictionary the value I have in line 1, strip it, and then print it, the value, okay, not the key. Go the next line, next line, next line. So as you can see, it is less number of lines, plus faster, plus a little bit more beautiful in terms of readability, and you have everything in here. So that's the solution to question German numbers for the students. So although you see only a few people have mentioned they have faced problem with these specific tasks, but it seems most of you have used the list instead of dictionaries. So it was a good idea to see how we can use dictionary to solve this problem, right? So that was the first thing we discussed. So let's have a look at the task summary. I will share the video of this task later, and you can look at the video and see what we have discussed already. Okay, so the next thing is task summary. Some students, they have had the task summaries. So when you submit, that's a real task kind of. When you submit your task into Einstein, I have some sort of the record of the things from your side. I see if the thing you have submitted, uploaded is correct and incorrect. The correct one, I have the correct extension at the end of the file, and for incorrect one I have these things. So somehow I want to know, for example, if a specific student has uploaded lots of files, so what are the correct one and what are incorrect one. Okay, so I want to look for the correct one. So that's the thing. So how do you think, let's look at the strategy first, how we can write a Python script blah blah which outputs only the names of the tasks which have been successfully completed, which are correct, and then sort them alphabetically. Okay, so first of all we need to understand which files are correct. So if I read all these things from the input, that's the first step. The second step would be to know which one is the correct and which one is incorrect. To know that, probably we can split them. If I split this line based on the dot, what would happen? The result would be a string, a list of one element, second element, and third element, right? So if I read all the lines, if I split them based on the dot, what would happen? I will have 3 pieces, 3 entries inside the list. And then somehow I need to get rid of the first 2 to get to the name of the file, and then I need to check the last element of the list to make sure if it is correct or incorrect. Okay, fortunately all the files, all the lines in here, they are 3 parts, 1, 2, and 3. So see, that's the case for all of them. We don't have any extra stuffs. That's the good news. So if you see any extra stuffs, you need to get rid of those things also. Okay, so the strategy would be reading the lines, probably splitting the things, probably just extracting the beginning parts and getting rid of the last part, and checking the last part to see if that's correct or incorrect. And then if it is correct, only store the correct one, and then at the end of the day sort them. See, we need to print them everything in the alphabetical order. So that could be the strategy. So let's have a look at the code to see how it works. So I will close the German numbers. I will go for the task summary. Okay, so you remember somewhere I said when you get rid of the final extension, I need to store everything somewhere and then I need to sort them. So for storing the things, probably the best idea is to use the dictionary. Okay, so I will define a dictionary which is a status, and then I'll read everything in here, and then I will split them based on the spaces. Okay, so I have the lines in here. So the first line, for the first line, why say split in here? Because I read everything using the read. What does it mean using the read? When you read everything using the dot read, not the read lines, it reads everything for you continuously. So it will give you everything in here, plus the break line, okay, and plus the spaces, everything. So I need to say split to get rid of the things. What would be the result of this line of code? The result of this line of code would be a list. It would be a list, as you can see in Visual Code Studio. It shows me that's a list. See, that's the list in here. So the result would be a list, and each element of the list would be one of these components. The first element is this guy, the second element of the list is this guy, and so on. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so that would be the list of 8 different elements. Okay, and then I will go through the lines, this list. I will take the first part, the first element, the first entry. I will split it using the dot. So I will take this guy, I will split it based on the dot. So what would be the result in parse? Parse would be also a list of 3 elements, the first one, the second one, and the third one, right? So if I keep my mouse on the parse, you see again that's a list. Okay, then inside the parse, I want everything unless the last one. I want everything unless the last one. What does it mean? It means I want the 0 element of the list parse and the first element. I don't want the second element. Okay, and also I want to concatenate a dot before that. Okay, so that would be the task again. That would be a string. I will create a string of this part. So I have created this part again. Okay, and then I will say the result is parse2. Parse2, what does it mean? Parse was a list of splitted the things. If I split the things using the dot, that would be a list. That's the first element, second element, and third element, right? So the last element, the second position, is the correct or incorrect. So the result is correct or incorrect, and then I say status of tasks, the status of this guy. I will put that into the dictionary. That would be the first key for me. And what is the value of that? The value of that is if the result is correct. If the result is correct, I will put true. That's a condition. I'm checking that. I'm saying the result, which is the last element of a string, the last element of the first line, which is incorrect. That's incorrect. If the result is correct, false or true, in this case it is incorrect. I'm checking it correct. It is false. That means inside the dictionary, the first element, the first key of the dictionary would be this guy, and the value for that is the result of this comparison, which is false. So the first element of dictionary would be then count up to add.py. That's the first element of dictionary, and the value for that is the comparison if the incorrect is equal to correct. No, so it is false. So it is then the name of the file and false. So I will continue that over the whole line. So I will have a dictionary of count up to odd.py, and the value is false. This guy, the value is true. This guy, the value is false. This guy, the value is true. This guy, the value is true. This guy, the value is true, false, true. So that would be dictionary. So in the first loop, actually I have created the dictionary. The keys are the name of the file, excluding the correct, incorrect at the end. and the value is true, false, true, false, true, false. Then I will try to sort them. I'll try to sort everything, task in sorted. In this guy, I sort the dictionary I have created already, and then I want just to print the things, the status, the value is correct. Okay, if status of the task, okay, should be correct. If so, I don't need to say equal to true, because when I say if something, I'm checking if it is true or false. If the status of the first element of the dictionary, first key of the dictionary, is the value is true, then I will print it. Otherwise, I don't print it. So you could get rid of this part in here, and then you could check it in here. You could say if the status of the task is equal to correct, then print it. That could be another option. That will work also. That's the same. But in here, at least you have the result of correct and incorrect inside the dictionary, right? So is that clear to you guys? If it is clear, please go to the voting system again and put yes or no, clear all. And please put yes or no in front of your name. I want to see what is the feedback of all summary tasks. Okay, yes. 2 people, they say yes, yes. Okay, thank you for participation. Very good. Okay, so we'll go on and we'll continue. I will clear it then. Okay, so that was the summary. Like I said, let's recap it one more time for the last time. I have something, I want to store everything into dictionary. Instead of the incorrect and correct, I want to put the value as true and false. That's the thing I did in the first loop. And could you briefly explain line 13 again? Line 13, yeah. Okay, inside the dictionary, I am trying to put the name of the file as the key and the correct and incorrect as the false. Instead of putting the correct and incorrect as the value inside the dictionary, I try to put false and true. Okay, to do that, I need to check it. I will say if for the first line, for the first element inside the dictionary, the task, which is the last part, last element, the value of the last element, if the result is correct, what was the result? Result was the last element of the first line, last element of the guide. The last element of the guide is incorrect. If the last element is equal to correct, then please put the value of that specific key inside the dictionary true. If the result is false, incorrect, it's not equal to correct, please put the value of that specific key inside the dictionary false. So this way I create true, false, true, false, true, false for the values. I hope you have got the answer. Okay, so that was for the first things. No worries, you're welcome. Okay, so let's jump to the material of in here. So I have a review. Inside the review, we want to talk a little bit about the function and modules again, but we want to look at the dictionaries also. The first task, I have missed something in here. I have not added. Please upload it to the Einstein. I will add it later after the class. So they are the tasks you should complete. But I want to go through some of the tasks with you to see how it works. So what is the task? I want to write a Python module named sets.py. That's the module. That's not a script, okay? And even that's not a fragment. That's a module. And then I want to define two functions, union and intersection, inside that module. And then I want to give you two lists and ask you to calculate the union of two lists and intersection of two lists. You know what does it mean, the union? Union means put everything together, just get rid of duplicates. And intersection means just check the common elements of two lists. Okay, so that's the whole thing. So what should we do? We are facing with the list in here, so we need to write a module first. So let's jump to save the time. Let's jump to the solution to see what's the story. Okay, so first of all, that's a module. So that's sets.py. You see that's the name of the module. And then I need to define first of all the first function, union, and then I define the second function, which is dictionaries in here, and then I want to add these guys to make it executable. And that's the main function. Inside the main function, I don't read from the input, just I will provide the things inside the function. They are the list, and then I will say, please print union of these two lists for me, and print the intersection of these two lists. So that's the module I have defined. The module is called sets. As you can see in here, I can use the module. I can say inside I need to import. You can write another Python script, which is, for example, test.py, and inside that test.py you can bring these guys, okay? And then inside that, the thing you need to upload is the set.py anyway, sets.py. But to test it yourself, you can write another script which is test.py, for example, and inside the test.py you can bring this line of codes. You can import sets first of all, and then you can add these things. If you don't add the function by itself, it has it, the script by itself, it has it, and then you can call it yourself. I mean, if you want to do this inside the test.py, probably you don't need these things, right? You don't need these things. You need only these parts. Okay, so let's see what happens in here. So I will define two dictionaries inside the union function. Union function in here. Union function takes two arguments, A and B, which are lists. Okay, I define two dictionaries in here. Inside the first list, I will go through the list and I will say, okay, that specific list, that specific element of the list for the first one, which is 1, I will put that as the key inside the dictionary, and the value of that is true. And then continue until you work on everything. So what will happen in here? The thing that will happen is I will create a dictionary from this guy, which is called DA. I will put 1 as the first key and the value true. 2 as the second key, the value true. Third key, value true. Fourth key, value true. So that's what happened in here. Again, I will do the same for the second dictionary. So I will have the second list. I will have another dictionary. All the elements inside the dictionary, inside the lists, will put as the keys and the values true. And then I will create a new list, C. I will go through the first dictionary. I will say for all the keys inside the dictionary, I will append the values of the dictionary, values of the key inside the new list. So I will go inside DA, I will check, I will say the first key, what is the first key is 1. I will append that specific key, I will append it to the list. So my list would be 1. And then I will continue, that means I will continue everything inside the first dictionary. I will append it. So C, after finishing this for loop, would be exactly equal to A. A is list, C is also list. And then I will come in here. I will go to the second dictionary. I will say if key is not in the A. I don't need to do the linear search in here. So I will take the first element of the dictionary, second dictionary here, which is 3. I will say if it is not 3 is inside dictionary A. So that means I won't do anything. So I will go to the next one, next element of the second dictionary. I will take 4. I will say if 4 not in dictionary A, while 4 it is in dictionary A. So I won't append that into the list I have in here. I will go for the next one. The next one is 5. I will check the key 5, not in DA. Yes, 5 is not in DA. So I will append it inside the list C. I will continue until I finish everything, and then I will return the thing. So as you can see in here, using the dictionary, I have got written the linear search. That's the point in here. You don't need to do the linear search to check, okay, if I have this guy inside the second list, the first list, sorry, if it is not in the first list, then add it please to the new list of C. but the dictionary does it for you completely easily. Is that clear what I'm saying? Let's back to the voting system. Please vote yes or no if it is clear what I'm saying. Yes, please go on. Please participate if it was completely clear. So as you can see, yeah, as you can see, okay, so not that many participation, but at least I see some yes and yes in the polling system. Okay, so what I did in here, actually I tried to use the dictionary capability to get rid of the linear search. So I put everything inside the first list inside dictionary DA. I put the B elements inside dictionary DB, and then I'll try to put everything from the first dictionary into the new list, and then I will check the second list to see if that specific key is inside the first dictionary. If it is, I won't do that inside the list. If it is not, I will append it in here. So that's the first thing. That would be the same case for the intersection. In the intersection, that would be the same. First of all, I will put everything inside the dictionaries, and then the story would be a little bit different. I would say for any key, so see in the previous version, first of all, I append everything in DA to the new list C, and then I will check if that's something new inside the second dictionary. But in here I need to check everything if that's in both dictionaries. I will say for the key inside dictionary DA, if that key is also available in dictionary DB, please append it to the list. So if both of the condition happens, then I will append. That's the meaning of intersection, right? So that's so easy and straightforward. So that's the solution. In this case, you use again dictionaries to make the situation much faster. And like I said, you can add these things at the end of your module, and then if you run the module, everything will happen in here, or you can go there and do something different. So that was then the problem of the sets. You have two different sets, you want to do union. There is a trick in here that may I ask in the exam. The trick is we don't have repetition in the list ourselves. As you can see, there is no duplication in the list by itself. I don't have any duplication in here and any duplication in here. And that's the reason why, for example, in the union, first of all, I put everything from the first dictionary. I will put everything from the first dictionary into the list, and then I will try to check if there is something new and I will append it to the list. But if there is duplication in the first list, you cannot put everything inside the list yourself. You should check the duplication even for the dictionary A, even yourself, and the B even, okay? So I may in the exam ask you what could be the situation if you have duplication in here. So you need to tweak the code a little bit in here. So practice for it, please. It could be a question in the final, in the lab exam 3, okay? So take that into consideration. If there is duplication in here, you cannot append anything in the first list, because we are looking for the getting rid of the duplication. As you can see in here, I said get rid of duplicates, okay? So that was the point of this guide. Okay, so let's see what is the story. So let's get rid of this example, go for the next example. What is the next question? For the next task, what do we have in here? Let's put it in here to save the space. Okay, so the next question in here, like I said, from this file you can get the password of the Linux user, Unix system you have. So the first token in this list is the username, which is the blot, would be the first thing. So write a Python script named Passwd-users, which outputs all the username from the password file, one per line. You remember we have practiced that already. The script should read the information directly from the file. So what could be the solution for that? The solution for that would be something like that. So probably you open this file as the name of F. You remember we talked about the open last week, and one of the main usage of the open was Actually you can, the main usage of with as was you can bring a block of code in here. So I would say with open this file as f, then please go inside the file and read all the lines for me. All the lines are in A. So what is the type of A in here? What is the type of A in here? As you can see, that's a list. Okay, then I will jump inside the list. I would say take the first element of the list for me, please. Split them using the colon, and then take the first one, which is what? Which is the username. So that's so straightforward. I will read the first element in here. That's the first element. Okay, and I will split them using the colon. See, using the colon you have different information in here, and then you will take the first one, which is the username, print it, and go to the next line. That's all. So easy and straightforward. We don't need to use any dictionary in here. But if you wanted to do some more stuffs, for example, I don't know, working on some other information inside the password file, probably we may need to use a dictionary to store the information, but in this case we don't need to store the information. You could read the elements probably using the read, or you could use the read line and get rid of the s in here. If you wanted to do that, then at each loop times you run the loop, you needed to do the f dot read line to read a new line. But in here, using the read lines, you have everything in here. So that would be the whole story. And then you can go to the next line and print the things. That was straightforward. Probably previously you used to do that in the same way. Okay, so let's go to the files. That's an interesting and real world example. We are facing with that a lot of time. So what is the story? The story of that is, okay, so you know, in the OS package, built-in module and package, you can go inside that and you can use a lot of built-in function there. So one of them is the path and is file. Using that you can check if it is a file or not. Okay, so if that a specific file available in the directory, you are in a specific directory, you have a bunch of file inside that directory, and you want to check to see if you have that specific file inside that directory or not. Maybe the real world example would be, again, you want to see if students have uploaded something in there. Using the OS module, we can use the is file and is directory. Obviously there are lots of built-in functions, you can search it yourself. So that would be a task you should do. Like I said, you need to go read the first file, and after reading the first file, inside that there is a text. After reading the text, read the file with that specific text, open that new file, inside that one continue until inside the last file you see something which is not the text, which is not the file, which is a text. Bingo is not a file. And then at the end of the day, just print the last thing you have seen. So in this case, I open the start text. Inside the start text there is the file name A. I will open the file A. Inside that there is B text. I will open B text. Inside that there is C text. I will open C text. Inside that, bingo. It's not a file name, so I won't continue anymore, and I will print bingo. So if you want to see the solution in here, the file name is start text. The beginning is file name. It is file name, yes. So open it. So inside that, please read that and get rid of all the spaces, everything, and then come back in here, continue until the name of the file is the thing you read is not file, and then print it easily. That's the case. Okay, and the list of the files, we are getting to the end of this lecture anyway. You need to write a script in here, copy the following script into a file and run it. Okay, then what is the task? You will write a file which is list of all files, and then it lists for you all the files. So the output would be something like that. So if you have lots of files, it will print for you the things in here. I will ask you to add this dot and this forward slash because that's the example in here. Maybe later we want to use it for adding it, concatenating it to another path and making a complete path and reading the files from there, etc. So that's the use case I'm talking about in here. So that's the whole story of these things in here, and we will have some more dictionary tasks in here. The first one is translation. Inside the translation, you remember we had it previously and we discussed it in the beginning of this lecture. Actually, we have the English number and we have the German number, and we want you to actually do these things. Let me know what is the translation of, for example, these numbers in the input. In this time, instead of embedding the stuffs inside the dictionary like we said inside the file, I want you to put them inside a new file, for example the German that text or something like that. Okay, so if you have something, open that specific file and do that. In the examining the tests, okay, you cannot hardwire the translation into your script. You must instead read the translation from a file. Einstein also checked the French too. So please work on the German and the French of 1 to 10. Well, like I said, you cannot hardwire it inside the code. You need to put it inside another file and probably open it. If you are looking for German or French or something like that, you need to open that specific file and do that. So there is another file which is super snap. In this one, in this case, you would say what is repetitive. It is exactly the snap game. You probably play with the cards, every 2 cards which matches the same thing. Okay, so if I have list of different things, if you find something which matches, you can say okay, snap dog, very similar to Snoop Dogg, isn't it? The funny guy and famous guy anyway. Okay, so snap dog in here. So then that would be the task, you work on it, and that would be the output. For example, sometimes if there is no match in here, you can say no match, so this output is empty. And the word intersection in here, so you have the current working directory contains 2 files. Each contained these guys in here, so write a script file like this which output only the word which occur in both sequences. So you have 2 files, only please print for me which have everything in here. So probably what thing you can do in here is you can open the first file, read everything, put inside the dictionary or something like that, and then read the second file, put it inside the dictionary, another dictionary, and then probably with open file as F, for example, key, and then go inside the first dictionary. No, not the open file, the dictionary. Go inside the first dictionary to see the second key is available or not, find the common things and print it for me.